Hi, my name is Bethany Golio. My physics teacher assigned a project to build a boat out of cardboard, and I'm going to do an alternative research assignment to help other students learn the best way to build one. I hope this helps you. The purpose of this project was to provide aid and ideas to future physics students who will be participating in the cardboard boat project. I also wanted to provide an opportunity for reflection of current physics students after the boat trials of what they could have improved. This is a list of the aspects I studied and included in this presentation. This PowerPoint includes my predictions, the outcomes of my classmates, and photos of their successes. Every teacher who assigns the cardboard boat project will have different rules and limitations. So that you can compare with your classroom rules, the primary rule that was established with my class was that the boats could be constructed only with cardboard and $20 of duct tape. The task in my class was to stay afloat for 1 minute and to travel across a 25-meter swimming pool and return in under 3 minutes. This is a very accomplishable objective. There are several principles you need to understand before beginning construction on your boat. One of these principles is buoyancy, which is basically how to make your boat actually float. You also should understand that your boat needs to be balanced so that it won't tip over. In addition, you need to learn how to overcome the force of drag and how to propel or move yourself across the pool. No matter what boats are made of, they float because of the principle of displacement. Displacement simply means that the water is going to be moved aside depending on the weight of the object you put in. For example, if you place your boat in the pool and it weighs X pounds, your boat will move down into the pool until it has displaced or moved X pounds of water, and then will float at that level. This is not true if the boat was unable to displace X pounds, in which case the boat would sink. Displacement directly affects the water line or level of your boat. One needs to consider not only how much water the boat will displace, but also how much the boat will displace when 2 students are inside of it. For a boat to float, its average density needs to be lighter compared to the water's average density. This is possible because the density of the boat includes its interior, which is mostly air. This is the equation to calculate buoyancy. Use an approximate calculation that includes students' weight before the day of your boat trial. Drag, or the friction of the water, is caused by surface tension, or more specifically, hydrogen bonding and molecular cohesion. To combat this, use a narrower angle of approach. For example, the frontmost part of your boat could be triangular to almost cut through the water as it moves through instead of a rectangular shape that will cause a greater resistance. The following slides contain my predictions of how successful boats would be constructed, as well as the data I analyzed from Miss Rilling's 6-period boat trials. Virtually all the groups in my teacher's class said they would advise future students to avoid procrastination. This project takes time and careful planning, and many of the groups that were not successful claimed that their problems could have been avoided if they would have started the project when it was given to them. Other advice that students gave included to build a scale model and to perform calculations. The amount of time you spend on your boat project is very important to the result. Students reported spending about 3 hours of research and 4 or 5 on actual boat construction. Students also took up to 3 hours of planning and 2 hours gathering supplies. I predicted that successful groups would calculate buoyancy and would keep the water level of their boat in mind while planning the elements such as height. While only a few groups calculated buoyancy, many groups were successful. Many successful boats, such as the one depicted, had a broad base and short sides. The boat depicted had the fastest time of the day, 1 minute and 2 seconds. I predicted that successful groups would have symmetrical boats with passengers that had a small weight difference to maintain balance. In general, successful and faster boats did have little weight disparity between students. However, not all boats were symmetrical. While it is difficult to tell in this picture, the boat depicted had more weight distributed in the back than the front, but was still very successful and quick. An unpredicted problem relating to balance was the tipping of boats as students tried to enter them. Students should plan this before the day of the trial, because several boats tipped or almost tipped, so be careful. I predicted boats that had a pointed angle of attack, like a triangle front, would be successful. The majority of the faster boats did have a triangular nose. This was not true for all boats, however, as you can see in the rectangular nose in the previous picture. Many groups attempted to use a triangular nose and rear so that they would not have to waste time turning their boat around at the end of the pool. Many of these groups ended up turning around anyway, so it was difficult to tell if this was an effective feature, but it might be something you want to try. Before the boat trials, I predicted cardboard oars that were thick, layered, taped, and broad would be the most successful method of propulsion. Many groups had oars that failed. They were either not taped well or not sturdy enough, and they became successful when they abandoned them and used their hands. Another variable that affected which groups successfully propelled themselves across the pool was who was in the boat. It was observed that boats with larger male students sometimes were able to use more power and travel faster. However, this was not always the case. The fastest boat of the whole day had 2 female passengers. They did not use their hands. Their paddles were longer and narrower than I predicted would be successful. They did not use any tape on their rowers, but said the cardboard was soggy and not durable by the end of their trial. I predicted that higher quality, more expensive tape would be more effective than a lot of cheaper tape. I also predicted that the bottom of the boat would be the most important place to put tape, and the latter was correct. There was not enough data to decide if the price of tape affected success. Pattern and application of the tape varied. Parallel or perpendicular did not seem to matter, but practically all the groups did overlap their tape. Successful groups used tape just about everywhere. It seemed like you couldn't have used too much tape. Remember when you are building your boat that there are many different types, shapes, and sources for cardboard you can use. I predicted that thicker, layered cardboard would be successful. I predicted that boats would be successful if they had interior structures and a sturdy base. Successful groups used multiple layers of cardboard. Sturdiness was one of the most important factors and one of the most deciding factors for successful groups. 2 very successful groups reported using interior structures in their construction. The one pictured on the right used a grid in the base of their boat, which provided for sturdiness and balance. Once again, this was the fastest boat of the day. Another group with a particularly long boat constructed a wall in the middle of their boat interior. This structure also provided sturdiness and was very effective. To reiterate, having a sturdy boat is vital. Groups that did not use multiple layers of cardboard, had a flimsy base, and/or constructed a boat that was too large were not successful. It is important that your boat is not too large, because it needs to maintain its shape and not fall apart. Most successful boats were less than 2.5 meters long. Average boat width was 1 meter. Boat height was usually less than 1 meter high. The principles of displacement and of water level need to be considered when planning height. If your boat is too high and does not displace much water, you may have difficulty reaching the water to paddle. If your displacement is too great, the water level may be too close to the edge of your boat and can also cause problems. In conclusion, here is a list of central problems and tips of advice that have been discussed during this presentation. Make sure you have a plan. Don't procrastinate. Try performing a trial with a scale model. Don't neglect buoyancy. Be careful when you enter the boat. A problem that was not addressed in the PowerPoint but would have helped some groups in my class: don't splash water into your boat when you are paddling. Construct a sturdy boat with a solid, firm base. Use multiple layers of cardboard. Have a pointed angle of attack. Also, consider the height of your boat. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this helped you make a plan for how to construct your cardboard boat. Special thanks to Miss Rilling and my 6th period class. Have a great day and best of luck. The following slides include sites to learn more about boating principles discussed at the beginning of this presentation. Thank you again.